a lot of power in that bell. Never done that. Welcome, Rotarians. Good afternoon to the April 3rd meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I am not Kevin Kassir, even though... Thanks, Bob. Even though I sometimes wish I were. Kevin is on a well-deserved vacation, so I am Tim Lilowitz, your president-elect, filling in for Kevin this week. And we have about 85 Rotarians and guests here today, so give yourselves a round of applause. Special thanks to Kathy Adams and Joe Sweeney for serving as our greeters today. Thank you. We have sort of a jam-packed agenda here today before we get to our guest speaker. So I'm first going to invite Patty Quinslick up to share a moment of inspiration and the Pledge of Allegiance and four-way test, and then we can greet our fellow Rotarians, and we'll get going after that. So, Patty.
Good afternoon, everybody. As some of you may know, I've spent most of my life in a career trying to keep people healthy. So, of course, I had to sort of go that direction when I was thinking about what to talk about to inspire you. So I'm going to talk for a minute about a concept that has been shown scientifically to make you happier, have you live longer, live healthier, and decrease your risk of having cognitive impairment and dementia. This is a concept that's found around the world in most cultures, but I'm going to give it the name that the Japanese culture gives it, and that's called ikigai. So some of you have heard of this. It's actually very, very similar to a lot of the things that we talk about and do here in Rotary. So what does it mean? What does ikigai mean? It basically translates as the reason to be, or as sometimes it's called colloquially, the reason we get up in the morning. So the idea of this is that when you get up in the morning, you have a meaning to get up, that your life is meaningful, and that then causes it to be longer, healthier, happier, and you have a positive impact on those around you. So what is ikigai? There's four concepts. The first one is to do what you love. So whatever you have a passion for, or what makes your heart sing, this is what you should spend your life doing. Number two is to do what you're good at. Find your skills, your talents, and use them to the fullest extent that you can. The third concept is to do what the world needs to be done. So you contribute to your community and you make the world a better place. The fourth concept is to do what benefits you. Now that can be something you get paid for as an occupation, or it could be something that gives you satisfaction in life. So, my inspiration for today is to suggest that all of you find your inner ikigai. You find out what truly matters to you, that you live a life full of purpose and joy, and that tomorrow morning when you wake up, just think about, what is it that's getting me out of bed this morning? What is it I'm going to do today that will give me joy? Thank you. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now if you would join me for the four-way test.
Is the truth, is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Steve Ballmer's ancestors
We're good? Okay.
Your circles are like this.
Ding the bell. All right. I hope everyone got to shake a few hands. We will continue. We have a number of guests today. So, as is our typical protocol, we are going to announce each guest. So please stand if I call your name, and go ahead and remain standing, and we'll recognize you as a group when we are done announcing. So. First, we have Chelsea Greiner and Jared Bieneman from Simpson College, who are guests of our speaker, Jay Butters. We have Matt Rodekamp, Substance Architecture, guest of Ganesh Gampat. We have Dallas Downey, founding principal at DSMIG and a Simpson alum, appropriate for today, guest of Carter Smith. We have Mary Richards, guest of John Isles. We have John Norris, the better half and partner and spouse of our Jackie Norris, and partner at SPPG. We have fellow Rotarian Monty Montero, who is visiting us all the way from the Rotary Club of Park Cities in Dallas, Texas. Thanks, Monty, for joining us. We have Brad Freeman, Associate Vice President and with CGA, and a guest of former President Doug Saltzgaber. Continuing our theme of Rotarians from a long way off, we have two guests from Sweden, Mira Herway and her husband William Herway. Mira just moved here from Sweden and was a Rotarian in District 2395. So thanks for visiting our club, and welcome. And then we have Cheryl Wisenend, guest of Ambassador Terry Brandstad. And that is it. So why don't we thank you all for coming. You have the slides for. So we just a quick thank you again. Many of you were at the spring party, if you want to call it that, at the Fat Putter last Thursday. We had a great time. These were all our sponsors. Again, thanks to them for helping us put it on, and some photographs. Kitty from our good time. I hope everyone had a really great time and that was there. I've heard a lot of good things, and I think we want to do more of this during my president year to help network with each other, because after all, it's our membership that is the most important thing in the club. With that, we have a few brief announcements from some committee chairs. So first up, Rich Leopold has an announcement from the Community Service Committee.
Overwhelming applause, love it. Okay, so Earth Day is coming up, and for a conservationist, this is like Christmas, right? So we have an event that we're sponsoring on Earth Day at Fort Des Moines Park from 4 to 7 p.m., and it's a tree planting. Now, just a little bit about how this comes about. So over time, the forest, two things. We stopped fire, which naturally would clean out a forest, and we brought in lots of invasive species, which we called pretty at the time, right? So a lot of our forests have been overgrown with these invasive species. 2 years ago at Fort Des Moines, we started a restoration. The first thing we do is we bring in what's called forestry mowers. These are monsters. These are big, huge lawnmower types machines that can cut down trees up to 8 inches in diameter. It's just unbelievable. So that happens first. Last year, low tech, we brought in goats. I have a goat herder that works for Polk County Conservation, and we brought in 200 goats because they clean out all the saplings or around the trees that we wanted to save and that kind of thing. So we had 200 goats working on Fort Des Moines last year. This year, it's us, it's people. So we need to go in, and we've had 40, 60 years of no regeneration of our native oaks and walnuts, and that's what we're doing. So April 22nd, there's a sign-up sheet on your tables. I'm going to have one out there next week too. If you or your family wants to join us, no experience necessary, just show up, just sign up and let me know. If you are unable or unwilling to show up on Earth Day, you can also sponsor a tree for $50 a piece. We'll put down an oak or a walnut in your name and you help us reforest. So thanks for your time.
And now we have Randy Worth here about the Wheels Fellowship to provide us a reminder. Randy?
My mother-in-law called me an invasive species. What can I say? I should sit down. Remind you of why I'm really here. The Wheels event, Saturday, April 26th from 10 to noon. And reminder, we'll have the IMTA truck driving simulator trailer there. And the Iowa Interstate Railroad will bring a locomotive. And we'll be able to tour those. Know that there will be steps up into those, just saying. Somebody asked, can we drive the train? And I said, I don't know. And so I'm working with their safety director to see what we can and can't do, or what they will allow. Anybody but Skeet can drive the train. And then we'll have a car show. Folks bring your car. It has to be special to you. Doesn't have to be anything that Barrett Jackson would want to sell or anything, just special to you. The address, 1420 11th Avenue Northeast in Altoona. It's very easy to find. Get to Adventureland Drive however you can. Go east until the road stops. The only street out there is 11th Avenue Northeast, and the only way you can turn is right. So I think you can find it. And we're at the end of the street. It's the only building, so I had to make it easy for myself. The other thing too, and a second announcement is I've worked with Sue Woody. How many of you actually have seen the Rotary Rosie Reader Van? Oh, okay, more than I thought. I haven't, and I know it's out on the street every day, so Sue's gonna make arrangements for our meeting on the 24th to have it parked downstairs, so those of us that haven't seen it can. So I will leave now, thank you.
Thank you, Randy. You really should have sat down after.
Slow learner.
Yeah, right. It's now my pleasure to do something fun that we like to do every once in a while. We introduce one of our newest members. So today I'm going to introduce Joe Sweeney to the club. Joe, you can come up here and stand awkwardly by me while I talk about you. Joe is a director at Jennings Callan. Is that how you say it? Yep. Jennings Callan Advisors. He was sponsored by Mark Snell. Is Mark here today? Thank you, Mark, for your sponsorship. So we asked Joe, as we always do, 5 fun facts to share. So number 1, you've got a free day. What would we find you doing? And Joe said he would be going for a long bike ride, see a local park, paddleboard down the Raccoon River, or fun activities with his dog. So enjoying the great outdoors. Number 2, where in the world have you traveled and can't wait to get back to? Joe has been fortunate, as he says, to been to all 50 states and 20 countries in 4 continents. So you travel quite a bit. He's planning on going to 5 new countries this year. Vietnam and Rio de Janeiro were highlights of his world travels. 3, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? I like this one. When working, surround yourself with people more successful than you. And when playing, surround yourself with happier people. It's pretty good. Number 4, what talent or skill do you possess that might surprise or delight people? Joe is a musician. He plays guitar, piano, and a few other instruments, as well as sings. He used to play, for many events a year in the past, but has let that go the past couple of years while he's growing his career. A little bit more about Joe. He grew up on a farm in north central Iowa. Went to Iowa State for undergraduate degree. Spent 10 years as an entrepreneur, starting 2 businesses. And along the way, he got his MBA from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and then transitioned to consulting. And now he helps innovate companies with business advisory and capitalization services. Joe is interested in buying businesses and, of course, as we heard, international adventure travel. So Joe's going to answer this last one from the podium, but you're you're joining Rotary. What can't you wait to tell your friends and family about our organization? Hi, Joe. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Well, with any of my activities, I love to learn from other people, and so what I'm most excited about in joining this club is learning from you all and being able to share what I learn with other folks, my family, friends, and co-workers. So can't wait to, if I haven't met you yet, I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Glad you're a part of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. And now one of our Rotary Club of Des Moines board members, Claudia Schabel, will introduce our guest speaker.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Can you see me? Well, thanks, Tim, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce our distinguished speaker today, Jay Byers. Jay Byers and I have known each other for many years, and I always admire Jay's leadership. In July of 2023, Jay began his tenure as the 25th president of Simpson College. Jay's ties to Simpson College, though, run deep, and he is a graduate of Simpson College, served on the Simpson College or Simpson Board of Trustees for 11 years, taught as an adjunct professor of political science, and received the Simpson College Alumni Achievement Award. Prior to Simpson College, though, Jay had a few different roles that are worth mentioning. Jay worked as an attorney at the Ice Miller Law Firm in Indianapolis. Following his graduation from law school at University of Iowa, he served as Congressman Leonard Boswell's district director, and then started his career at the Great Des Moines Partnership, which is where many of you may have known or met Jay before. Jay was promoted to CEO of the partnership, working in this role for more than 11 years and playing a pivotal role in advancing the Greater Des Moines region's economic and civic landscape. I had the privilege of meeting Jay during his tenure at the partnership, and I watched firsthand how Jay excelled at bringing stakeholders to work together while setting the course and vision for the future of the Greater Des Moines region. Jay is an inspiring, humble, and inclusive leader who gets things done. Jay continues to play a critical role in workforce and economic development as Simpson College helps shape and prepare the next generation of talent for Iowa and beyond. And I would say, Patty, that I see Ikigai in Jay. I think Jay embodies Ikigai. So without further ado, please help me welcome Jay Byers.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Great. Well, it's an honor to be here, and with Claudia, thank you for the very kind words. And I think that shift from the Greater Des Moines Partnership to Simpson makes a lot of sense in terms of one of the biggest issues that we heard with the partnership for so many years, and still here, is talent. And do we have enough talent? And do we have the talent, the skills that are necessary? And I think Simpson plays a key role in being a talent driver for this region. And also really appreciate the opportunity to speak to this group. I know that there's so many of you who are influential leaders in so many different parts and facets of the region. And a big strength of Simpson is our connectivity to the Des Moines area. So some people think, Indianola is a long ways away, but it's, I still live in Des Moines by the Arts Center, drive every day, and really think that Simpson is an important part of that economic engine for the region, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm also pleased to share that I am a Rotarian as well. I'm a member of the Indianola Club, and Jared and Chelsea, who are here today, who you were introduced to earlier, are better attenders of the meetings than I typically am too, but really appreciate what Rotary is all about. I do want to share a quick story. Many of you know my wife, Katie Byers. How many know Katie, by the way? A lot. All right. She's definitely the smarter, better half in our family. But she once, when she was in elementary school, wrote a paper. I always tell this story whenever I speak to Rotaries. And so the title of her
essay in elementary school was two great leaders, Geronimo and my dad, Rotary president. It's a true story. So just sort of diving in. By the way, how many Simpson alums are in the crowd right now? All right, I love it. Or anybody have any children who went to Simpson? Okay, excellent. So what I'm most excited to share with all of you is that we actually now have this last year we had our largest class in more than a decade. So there's a lot of discussion out there in terms of small private colleges and enrollment issues, but we had our largest class in more than a decade. So we're very excited about that. And our deposits this year are running, actually I just checked yesterday, we're running above this year where we were last year at this time. So again, we're continuing to beat those trends and are very excited about that. We now have more than 1,200 students, which is, we're excited about that as well too. And I want to talk about a couple of the programs that have been really aggressive in terms of our recruiting of students. And so we call it All In for Iowa. There was two programs that we rolled out last year. One is the 100K Promise. We had the Simpson Promise in play for a handful of years before that, but basically any student whose gross family income is $100,000 or less, they live in Iowa, they live on campus, and have the room and board plan and meet the academic requirements, can qualify for free tuition for that first year. And we have had great success with that. Also rolled out what we call the full 99, so think about the Charles Grassley full 99, but really offering one full tuition scholarship for up to at least one in all 99 counties. So we significantly increased our number of percentage of in-state students. So we're now at about 75% of our students are from Iowa. We also rolled out this year a new exciting program with Des Moines Public Schools and Indianola Public Schools. So any graduate who has a 3.5 and above, and again, would live on campus, qualifies for free tuition as well too. So we're getting really great response on that as well too, and that's really driving, I think, our numbers for this year. I do want to, I want to jump back here real quick. I do want to share that in many ways, and these numbers may surprise you, but we're still in many ways a school of social mobility. So roughly a third of our students are first generation college students, and about 40% are Pell eligible, which means they meet those income requirements for qualifying for some of our aggressive recruitment strategies. So we're very excited about that, and really are still having high impact and changing lives every single day. I want to talk a little bit about some of the investments we've made on campus. Athletics is a big part of who we are. We had roughly 60% of our students are student athletes, 70% of our first year class were student athletes, and part of that reason, I think part of these reasons why we've been successful with recruiting has been some big investments that we've made in the campus during the last couple of years. So we have new football turf, new track, new scoreboard. We've created artificial turf both for softball and for baseball. Redid our gymnasium floor and seating. Our locker rooms we've redone as well. Indoor batting cage, indoor wrestling room. We changed and created some really excellent facilities. Our sports performance and fitness center upgrades as well. So lots of big investments. And these are just some of these stats I shared with you earlier, that athletics is an important part of who we are, and making those investments matters.
Enough one?
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Just want to talk about some of the big things that have been happening. So I'm still very new at this position. I've been here a year and a half. We just recently had our the inauguration. It was just a really great opportunity just to celebrate the great history that goes back to 1860 and all the great things that have come before us, and really honoring that tradition and really looking forward into the future. Some of you may know this, that George Washington Carver actually went to Simpson College before he went to Iowa State. How many people knew that? All right. So now we're telling more and more people that, but kind of an excellent story is he went to Simpson for a year, studied art, and was really advised by one of his professors to go to Iowa State, whose father was an agronomist at Iowa State. But we celebrate George Washington Carver on campus every year, and this last year, our Carver Medal we awarded to Mike Espy, who maybe some of you might remember, who was the first and still only African American Secretary of Agriculture for the U.S., and it was just a really special moment as we found out his father had actually been a student of George Washington Carver, and so we had this really great connection, and that was really exciting. This past year, we signed a new exciting agreement with Des Moines University for guaranteed interviews, concurrent degrees, and reserved seats in some of their programs, and really excited about where that partnership is going, and always looking for additional partners with other schools. How many people have been to the opera? All right, excellent. So the Des Moines Metro Opera, as many of you know, was founded by a Simpson professor, a longtime leader in the opera world, Robert Larson, and continues to be a strong partnership with us. Other great partnerships we have continue to be with like the Balloon Classic as well. We always have a number of the pilots who stay on campus as well too, but really two big things that are really tied to Indianola and the history of the Balloon Festival and opera are also really, that Simpson played a lead role in launching both of those. We've recently received some really nice, we don't get the level of federal grants and so forth that like in Iowa State or the large research institutions do, but we've done really well in the last couple of years. Got a really nice NASA grant that's been featured in terms of doing some research with NASA and some students and one of our faculty members who's actually on sabbatical in Florida right now at Cape Canaveral. National Science Foundation, we got a nice STEM grant to build out continue to build out our data analytics program. We got a nice grant from the Carver Trust for our anatomy table to continue to be a great new teaching tool for our STEM students as well. And again, when I was with the partnership, you might remember I talked a lot about rankings, and so we've had some really nice rankings with Simpson as well too. So with U.S. News and World Report in the category of regional Midwest colleges, we were #1 in Iowa, which we're excited about. Wall Street Journal, we were #4 among Iowa privates, and then 4 out of 5 stars from Money Magazine. We also are very active in terms of civic engagement. We've got what's called the Culver Center, which was named after Senator John Culver. But we're very, very active with getting our students to participate. So one of 471 colleges to be named as a most engaged campus, and that was just announced that we got that again this year as well. Our speech and debate team is incredible. They won the national title 7 out of the last 9 years. We're very excited about that program, and continues to be a great recruiter for us nationally, and just an incredible tradition, and continuing to build on that. On the athletics, as I mentioned before, the investments we've been making, we did have just a couple of examples of some really great success. Spencer Moon last year won the national 10,000 meters, which was really exciting. Our women's soccer team has made the playoffs the last couple of years. Also, our shooting sports team won a national title. Our esports team has done really well, and we have a total of, if you count shooting sports and esports, we have 29 different athletic teams. About one of the important things that we do as well is international students, or not international students, but our international opportunities. About 26% of our students study abroad, and a vast majority of them are through our May term trips, and we usually do 6 or 7 of those internationally every year. I love this picture. This is from last year. We had a number of our students who got to meet the Dalai Lama on a trip to India, which was really special. And we have, I think, 6 or 7 again this year as well, trips across the world. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Big Six. Has anyone heard of the Big Six before? Okay, so the Big Six is some research that was put together by Gallup and Purdue Global 7 or 8 years ago, and looking at 6 different factors of graduating seniors. And the closer you get to 6, there is a direct correlation in terms of overall career success and overall happiness and well-being. So those 6 factors are: did you have a professor who really cared about you? Did you have a professor who truly inspired you? Did you have a mentor? Were you actively engaged in meaningful co-curricular activities? Did you have a job or internship that was directly related to your major? And number 6 is, were you involved with a research project or some sort of capstone project that lasted a semester or longer? Our students, we have 80, with our last time that we measured this, with our last year's graduates, 86% graduated with 3 or more of these experiences. The national average with 3 or more, we had 86% of our students who graduated with 3 or more. The national average is 32%. So it's, I think it just really shows in terms of what the power of a small college, the power of those great mentorship and advisor relationships that we have with our students and faculty, and that's something that we really deliver on. Also, our students are heavily engaged in internships as well too. 71% of our graduates last year had some sort of internship or field experience. That's one of the things that you all can do as well too. If any of you are looking for interns, let us know. We'd be happy to get you connected with our career planning placement office as well. And for that matter, looking just for if we can help you fill your employment needs, we'd be very happy to do that as well. We are very much a net importer of talent, as I mentioned before, where our students are coming from, but 84% of our recent graduates stay in Iowa, so we are helping to fill those talent needs as well. I did want to mention also our Simpson Online program as well, and so we have a long history of offering adult learning opportunities and degree completion. We recently created a new partnership agreement, and if any of you are interested in that, I'd be happy to get you some more information, but we're up to 26 different partners in the region. And so basically what that means is that if any of the companies or nonprofits or public entities that participate, if you have any of your employees that are going back and getting degree completion or taking any of our online classes, we get a 20% discount. And there's no cost to do this. It's just that partnership and our opportunity to help communicate that with your members. So the video
When I started here at Simpson, I didn't really know.
can't really hear this right now, but anyway, this is Sam Durning.
I was encouraged to.
He's talking with one of our professors right there too. But really, the reason that I'll just skip through that, but you just can't really hear it. But basically, just talking about that great experience that he has had, both in terms of research opportunities that he's had, and how that helped him get a free ride scholarship to North Carolina pharmacy school. So anyway, sorry about the technology on that. That's okay. But anyway. So anyway, all that being said, happy to answer any questions you might have. We're super excited about all the things that are happening at Simpson, and happy to entertain any of your questions. I don't have that information. I'd be happy to look that up for you. I'm not sure about that. I know that in terms of it is a high number, and we have 75% of our students who are coming from Iowa, and that 84% that are staying, which is great. I have not seen the comparative data in the last couple of years to see how that fares. So.
Yeah, I was very impressed by all the stuff you're doing to get your students moving and being active. I was just wondering, a lot of the sports you talked about have been sort of traditionally thought of as male-dominated sports. How many of your female students are involved in all of these various sports programs? Do you have any idea?
Yes, I think it's close to 50-50 in depends on the year. We've launched 4 new sports in the last 2 years that have been very successful in helping drive those numbers in terms of overall enrollment, just in terms of percentage of our enrollment. So men's and women's gymnastics, which is they're pretty interesting in that very few of those students come from Iowa. So those have been national recruiters for us. In fact, we're hosting our men's gymnastic conference tournament. Our conference includes Navy, West Point, William and Mary, because there's so few schools, and we compete against Michigan, Ohio State, and the other major gymnastics powerhouses across the country. We also recently started women's wrestling, which has also been a great national recruiter for us, and men's volleyball, which has been actually a pretty good international recruiting for us as well too. So it's been fun to see those 4 new sports. We're actually looking at a handful of other sports right now, based off of some investments we need to make into the various facilities, but possibly looking at 2, 3, 4 more sports in the next couple of years.
What's the outlook for the women's softball team?
Yes, that's my softball question, right? Actually, I think our softball team is something like 18-2 or something like that. They're actually really good. They went. They just got back from a big swing through Florida. So many great things that are happening right now, and happy to answer any other questions.
How many of your students reside on campus? Is that a normal number? And then secondly, since the pandemic, what are the changes in the student?
Yeah, those are great questions. So the vast majority of our students live on campus,
Yes.
and especially those who are part of the scholarship programs I talked about. One of the issues we're dealing with right now is space. So we're growing pains. Do we have enough space? And so, are we bringing our singles back to doubles? Are we, this last year we had to put some students in lounges that were converted into rooms, those sort of things. So it's kind of with those growing pains. So right now our issue as we're talking at cabinet is how are we going to be able to, are we going to have to let a few more people live off campus as seniors and those sort of options. In terms of students post-COVID, there's definitely a lot more challenges with the students now than there were even a decade ago. And part of that is COVID, and part of it's other issues as well too. But just in terms of percentage of students who need additional academic assistance and the percentage of students who need some mental health services, and both those charts kind of look like this. So in terms of, again, with the great growth we've had, it also creates, again, some interesting challenges in terms of the extra resources that we need both for academic assistance and for mental health. And I think you'll see that at most colleges across the country. Yes, sir.
What do you see as the overall challenges of higher education today?
Yeah.
You hear about costs and so forth, and issue of student loans, and is college the right thing to pursue now, and so forth?
Yeah, I think those are all definitely on the list. I think one of the things that we hear now is is it still important? Is the college degree still worth it, right? And I think part of it, whether it's us or any of our other small private colleges, or quite frankly the regions, community colleges, in terms of making sure that value proposition is still worth it. Historically, getting a college degree will significantly, you're going to make significantly more throughout the course of a year than if you don't have a college degree, and that's historically been the case. But guess what? It's still the case. In fact, that gap's getting bigger, not smaller. And so I think a lot of it is, but all that being said, no one's going to tell our story for us. And I think a big part of the importance of why is a 4-year degree so important. Talked a little bit about the Big Six. I think a lot of it has to do with what are these sort of life skills that they're getting beyond the classroom, which are equally important. So things such as project management, analytical reasoning. All those sort of soft skills or power skills, which I think schools like Simpson are really good at, written communication, all those sort of things. In terms of what are those items that make going to college still really worth it. So again, I think that there's been that pendulum swing, and in some ways, to say not everybody needs a 4-year college degree, which I don't disagree with, but I do think for a majority of students, it's still an investment that more than pays for itself.
Do you have any connections or programs with any of the EMAC campuses?
We do. We have number of DMAC transfers every year in terms of those articulation agreements, and are working to build those relationships with all the community colleges across the state. So I think it's really important. I think DMAC, I've got a daughter who's at DMAC right now, and I think that they do a great job, and I think that there's more and more of those opportunities to work with them and other community colleges to strengthen those agreements.
I spent a lot of time with the Iowa Law School Foundation, so I'm pretty familiar with what it takes to be able to give the level of partial or full-time scholarships that you're able to do. What has been the success of your endowment and your fundraising activities?
Well, Jared leads our fundraising activities. He's done a great job. If you had asked me about our endowment, I would have had probably a different answer 2 weeks ago. All that being said, our endowment is right now we're around, last time I checked, around 65 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's important, and Jared does a great job leading our fundraising team. We're actually in the quiet phase of a new campaign, looking at different things such as athletic investments, which I had mentioned, but also investment in housing, which was one of the questions as well. Redoing our dining hall, and scholarships in the annual fund, and so we've been in the quiet phase of that, but it's really important. Tuition in and of itself doesn't pay the bills, right? And so that for places like Simpson to be successful, that fundraising is an important part of that.
Has the attack on DEI forced any changes at Simpson?
We have made a number of changes, some of which we were working on anyway, so we're looking at that as well too, just in terms of whether or not that legislation passes or not passes, or whether or not private higher ed is part of it or not. I think that's still working its way through the system, but we have made a number of changes because not only at the state level but also at the federal level that there's a lot of those pressures right now. But at the same time, not forgetting who we are, not forgetting our core mission, our core values, and so there's some semantic changes and there's some other programmatic changes that we're doing as well too.
What are some of the key partnerships that drive success at Simpson, and whether that's the state of Iowa, other universities, or private industry?
I think the short answer is all of the above. I think that I mentioned some of our articulation agreements, but we have a town and gown committee, which Chelsea plays a lead role with that, making sure that our relationships with, for example, our various partners in Indianola, so that would be the city, the chamber, Warren County Economic Development, private businesses, schools, making sure that we have those strong connections that we can be good partners with. Same thing at the state. I mean, we are very active with a group called ICU, Iowa Association of Independent Colleges and Universities, and they play a lead role in terms of a lot of our advocacy. So again, issues that we're dealing with at the State House. A group called NICU, which is our federal version of that in terms of our relationships with our congressional delegation and working with them as well. But I think all those partnerships are incredibly important, and we're always looking for new opportunities to partner. So I mentioned DMU and DMAC came up as a question, but there's a number of other opportunities out there that we'd be interested in.
One more question.
Another question? Sure.
Has NIL had any impact on your sports program?
So the question was, has NIL had any impact on it? I think at Division III level, it's pretty small potatoes. I think what you'll see, and I'm not even really sure if I got really good examples from sort of our athletes, but at other small schools, it'd be more of sort of promoting some small local businesses and those sort of things. But overall, it has an impact on us as we're NCAA Division III, and so there's so much change that's happening right now with not only NIL, transfer portal, and sports betting. All those sort of things have had a huge impact, and of course NIL. And so a lot of that sort of flows downhill a little bit, just in terms of how does that impact then Division II? How does that impact Division III? But for the most part, it hasn't had much impact on us. Thank you.
busy schedule to come up here and meet with us today. And thanks for all the work you've done, both with the partnership and then now at Simpson in our community. Upcoming speakers on the slide there, you'll see. So the next 2 weeks we have, as Kevin mentioned last week, we have our local scholarship program. We're on April 10th, where we will award 6 $8,000 scholarships, one to each, to a senior from each Des Moines school. And then on April 17th, we follow that right up with our educator awards. And I know Scott Bennett and his crew have been working hard and have chosen those, and we will honor 5 Des Moines public educators for their outstanding work in the schools as well. So important to register or RSVP with Kitty by Wednesday at 9 a.m. for the next couple of weeks, because we will, as I'm sure many of you remember from last year's, we'll have large crowds on both April 10th and April 17th, a lot of guests. And then on April 24th, we have Tammy Matson, the executive director at Central Iowa Waterworks. So good programs coming up. Make sure you think about bringing a guest if there's one out there that you think might be interested in one of the programs. Thank you again to all our visitors and guests from both a long way away and locally. And thanks again and congratulations to Joe Sweeney for being part of our club. Glad to have you. We are adjourned until next week. Have a good week.